Mr. Chair, we are now live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Ajax Committee of Adjustment meeting for September 29th, 2021. This meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is being held electronically and live streamed on the internet. Due to the COVID-19 emergency and requirements for physical distancing, no in-person attendance is permitted at this meeting. All regular practices and procedures of the committee continue to apply during this electronic meeting. If we encounter any technical difficulties, we may take a brief recess while they are resolved. Thank you for your patience. We will now proceed with the meeting. And before moving on to the application portion of this evening's meeting, I would like to confirm whether there are any disclosures of interest from members of committee. Seeing none, thank you. And if we can look for adoption of the minutes from the previous two meetings in July, we'll start with the meeting minutes for the July 21st hearing. Do we have a motion? Okay, Mark, thank you. And is there a seconder on that motion? Cecil, thank you very much. And all those in favor of adoption of the July 21st meeting minutes? All in favor. Those minutes have been adopted. And if we can look for adoption of the minutes for the July 28th hearing, please. Is there someone who'd like to make a motion? Lori, thank you. And a seconder? Wasif, thank you. Okay, and all those in favor of the adoption of the July 28th meeting minutes?
Mr. Chair, I'll abstain as I was absent that meeting.
Great, thank you. And those meeting minutes have been adopted with Mark abstaining. Thank you. Okay. The Committee of Adjustment is bound by the Planning Act to assess each application based upon its ability to meet four tests: that the application is minor in nature, is desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, and finally is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw. The process for tonight's meeting will be conducted in the following manner. The applicant and/or agent will be called upon and at their option may provide a brief description of the minor variance application they have applied for. Committee members may ask questions of the applicant and/or agent, after which anyone with a direct interest in the application will be given the opportunity to speak either for or against the application. Once a motion is put forward by a committee member, there will be no further input from the applicant or anyone having interest in the application. After a decision is made, notice will be sent out and there will be a 20-day appeal period. Anyone having interest in the application may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of the decision of the committee. After 20 days, the decision will become final and binding. If a building permit or other approvals are required, they may be filed during the appeal period. However, no building permits will be issued until the appeal period is over and the decision becomes final and binding. A respectful decorum during this evening's proceedings is expected of all present at all times. And beginning with introductions of committee members, we have Mark Pavlik, Cecil Ramnath, Wasif Ahmed, Lori Roberts, and I am the chair of the committee, Greg Whitfield. And with us from town staff, we have Eric Simpson, senior planner and acting secretary treasurer with the town of Ajax. The first application for tonight's meeting is application A27/21 for the vacant lands located west and north of 29 Ontario Boulevard. The variance requested is to permit a minimum lot area of 1.3 hectares, where the bylaw requires a minimum lot area of 4.0 hectares, to permit a minimum lot frontage of 39.6 meters, where the bylaw requires a minimum frontage of 150 meters, and to permit a minimum setback from the interior side lot line of 3.0 meters, where the bylaw requires a minimum interior side lot line setback of 6.0 meters. Eric, was notice served and were any responses received?
Notice was served and there was one general inquiry via phone call that staff responded to.
Great, thank you. And is the applicant and/or agent with us this evening?
Hi.
Hi there, okay. Would you guys mind introducing yourselves?
I'm Oliver Moe.
And I'm Cassandra.
Great, thank you. For the two of you, staff have written report recommending approval of the variances requested, subject to 5 conditions within the staff report. 1, that the subject variance apply only to the lands as illustrated in the figures included herein, or this decision shall become null and void. 2, that the owner or applicant obtain a tree cutting permit from the town of Ajax for any trees proposed to be removed, covering all requirements, financial and otherwise, to the satisfaction of the town, or this decision shall become null and void. 3, that the owner or applicant obtain all necessary building permits from the town's building services section, or this decision shall become null and void. 4, that the owner or applicant implement all recommendations of the scoped environmental impact study, tree inventory and preservation report prepared by Henry Cortacas and Associates, dated October 11th, 2018, and as amended to the satisfaction of the town and the Central Lake Ontario Conservation Authority, or this decision shall become null and void. And 5, that the owner or applicant maintain the existing drainage on the subject lands, or this decision shall become null and void. For the applicants, have you guys received a copy of this report?
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Do you have any questions or comments on the conditions recommended by staff?
No, I don't think so. We've spoken with them a lot and everything's quite clear, I think.
Okay, great. If you'd like to take this opportunity to provide any additional context to your application to assist committee members, now's your opportunity.
No, I don't think so. I think everything's in there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I will turn it over to my fellow committee members. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant and or staff? Lori?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Through the chair I'm not too sure whether it'll be staff or the applicants who can answer this question. The property that would be to, I'm assuming it's to the east, is there anything on that land right now, or is that vacant land?
There's a house there.
There is a house there. So in
Well,
proximity,
29 on Toro Boulevard is a house. That's east of our property, which was just given 31. We just got our address, actually, it's 31. So I'm assuming that's what you're referring to.
so when I'm looking at the staff report that's here, when I look at the what page am I looking at? Figure 1. It looks as though there's maybe a vacant piece there. I see 29 and then the outline of your property, and I'm wondering what's in that right there. Yeah, the
Oh.
blank
No,
box.
that's part of 29.
So
that's not-
okay.
That's
Through the
not it.
chair, yeah, those lands merged with 29, so that's just one parcel.
Okay, and sorry, thank you. Through the chair again, the house that is on number 29, does it butt right up against your property, or is this vacant space that we see there in between the two houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, that and some extra space as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Great. Any further questions from members of committee? Seeing none. Okay. Is there anyone here to speak either for or against the application this evening? Seeing none. Okay. In that case, if we can look for a motion on the application from members of committee. Cecil?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve all requested permissions for minor variance application A 2721, subject to all 5 staff conditions, as it is minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development and use of the lands, and is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaws. Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Great. Thank you. And is there a seconder on that motion? Lori, thank you. And all those in favor? All in favor, application A 27/21 is approved, subject to the conditions within the staff report and the 20-day appeal period.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, moving on to application A 33/21 for 7 Dexter Drive. The variance requested is to permit an uncovered below-grade entrance within the south interior side yard with a minimum setback of 6.7 meters from the interior side lot line, where the bylaw does not permit uncovered steps to encroach into a interior side yard and requires a minimum setback from the interior side lot line of 7.5 meters. Eric was notice served, and were any responses received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Sorry, aside from the letter of support we received, correct?
Correct.
Great, thank you. Okay. And for the applicant, is the applicant with us this evening?
Yeah, I'm on behalf of the homeowner. So I was actually, I'm representing the design team that actually designed the house. And we'll be speaking on behalf of the homeowner and our client.
Great, thank you. And your name?
My name is Shaheen.
Great, thank you. Okay, and for the applicant and homeowner, staff have written a report recommending approval of the application, subject to 3 conditions within the staff report. 1, that the subject variance apply only to the property municipally known as 7 Deckshire Drive, and as illustrated in figure 2 of the report, or this decision shall become null and void. 2, that the owner or applicant obtain all necessary building permits from the town's building services section, or this decision shall become null and void. And 3, that the owner or applicant maintain the existing drainage on the property, or this decision shall become null and void. Have you received a copy of this report?
Yes, we have.
Great, and do you have any questions or comments on the conditions recommended by staff?
Nope.
Okay, if you have anything else you'd like to add to help the committee with their consideration, now's your opportunity.
Nothing really to add on this point. It's just more so for convenience for our homeowner, and we would like to make sure they're happy with what they're going to get. That's all it is.
Okay, thank you. And are there any questions from members of committee? Lori?
Through the chair to the applicant, I think this question would be, do you work for the builder or are you working for the applicant?
Both.
For both, okay.
Yeah, we're working for the builder and the applicant at the same time. So it's a custom home that obviously the builder is building for our client, so.
Okay, so I'm not too sure whether you would be able to answer this or staff can answer through the chair. Are there any homes built around this one already, specifically
Yes.
on the side where this entrance is going to be?
Yes, there is.
And are you able to say what the amount of space is between that house and this house? Because it's such a new area, normally I
Yeah.
can go in and take a look at Google Maps or whatever.
For sure.
It just looks like vacant land right now, so.
So the minimum side yard setbacks are 7.5 on each side yard. So we're just asking for an encroachment on just one of the lots. So the other side, the adjacent property does have a 7.5 meter side yard setback to the building.
Okay, so there's the
together there's
relief
about,
requested on the one side and then the
Yes.
7 on the other. Okay,
Correct,
thank you very
correct.
much.
no problem.
Thank you, Chair.
Any further questions from members of committee? Okay, seeing none. And is there anyone here to speak either for or against the application this evening? Seeing none. Okay, if we can look for a motion on the application, please. Lori?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we approve application A33-21 on the basis that it is minor in nature and meets the 4 tests, as long as the 3 conditions are met.
Thank you. And is there a seconder on the motion, please? Wassef, seconded by Wassef. And all those in favor? Great, all in favor. Application A33/21 is approved, subject to the 3 conditions within the staff report and subject to the 20-day appeal period.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Thank you, you as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And moving on to our final application for this evening, application A34/21 for 129 Rushworth Drive. Variance requested is to permit a minimum setback from the rear lot line of 3.6 meters, where the bylaw requires a minimum rear lot line setback of 7.5 meters, and to permit a maximum permitted lot coverage of 49.5%, where the bylaw requires a maximum lot coverage of 47%. Eric, was notice served, and were any responses received?
Notice was served and no responses were received.
Great, thank you. And is the applicant or agent with us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, member of the committee. I'm the agent for this application.
Great, and your name?
Noor, N-O-U-R.
Great, thank you very much. For the applicant, staff have written a report recommending approval of the application subject to 3 conditions within the staff report. One, that the subject variance apply only to the property municipally known as 129 Rushworth Drive, and as illustrated in figures 2 and 3 of the report, or this decision shall become null and void. 2, that the owner or applicant obtain all necessary building permits from the town's building services section, or this decision shall become null and void. And 3, that the owner or applicant maintain the existing drainage on the property, or this decision shall become null and void. Have you received a copy of this report?
Yes, I did.
Great. And do you have any questions or comments on the conditions recommended by staff?
No.
Great. If you have anything else you'd like to add to the application, now is your chance.
No, I'm just looking for your approval if you have no questions for me.
Great.
I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do any members of committee have questions for the applicant or staff? Lori?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to staff. I noticed on the staff report in the other comments on design services, it makes mention that there's no concerns, but that is suggested that the owner consider planting trees along the rear lot line to provide some additional privacy screening. Is this something that should be a condition, because the consider is very vague?
Through the chair, yeah, planning staff spoke with the design services staff and we determined that we don't think it's strong enough to have to require as a condition. We wanted to obviously include though that that was their opinion and it was a suggestion, but in planning staff's opinion, it does not need to be included as a condition.
Are you able to, through the chair, are you able to give us a little bit, elaborate a little bit why the planning doesn't feel like it needs to be a full-on condition?
Through the chair, yeah, well, the report kind of already goes into that, but just from this, the fact alone that you can have an accessory structure just as tall, actually taller than this building, a lot closer, 0.6, and there's no privacy requirements for that. So it doesn't seem necessary to have to require additional vegetation for something that's set back 3.4 meters.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any further questions from members of committee? Seeing none. Okay, and is there anyone here to speak either for or against the application? Don't believe we have anyone else on the call. Okay, seeing none. In that case, if we can look for a motion on the application, please. Wasif?
Mr. Chair, I propose that the committee approve application A3421 for 129 Rushworth Drive on the basis that it meets the 4 tests, it's minor in nature, and subject to the 3 conditions in the staff report.
Thank you. And is there a seconder on that motion, please? Mark? Second by Mark. And all those in favor? All in favor. Application A34/21 is approved, subject to the conditions in the staff report and the 20-day appeal period.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, and that concludes the application portion of this evening's meeting. Move on to other or new business. If anyone has anything they'd like to discuss before we sign off. Seeing none, in that case, if we can look for a motion to adjourn, please. Wasif? And is there a seconder? Lori, thank you. And all those in favor? Great. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.